What do I want to do? I think I want to play a spell and see if they have counterspells or not. Alright. Hello everyone, Travis here for Cheapo's Corner, and we're playing the Premades. This is the Angelic Accountant's Premade deck. And Vesuvian Duplicacy can be a pain. Do I use Borrowed Time on it now? I don't really have a better spell to play, and they're tapped out, so they can't stop me from getting rid of it. We're looking good. Oh, we're looking really good. Okay. That was a little bit faster than I expected. I don't think the problem with combos like that using Vesuvian Duplicacy is if you get your piece of the combo out first, that's kind of like a setup, and you don't have anything as a buffer, you can kind of get starved, so to speak. And evidently they didn't have anything else other than setting up their combo at the moment. Okay, so let's go in here. Angelic Accountants, one of the more modern premades, and we've got a lot of tap lands in here. But we've got, what is that, 16, 20, 25 lands, and it's working out pretty good. When we click on it here, it's got 21 creatures, so they didn't go over heavy on the creatures, but you notice they're sticking close to that 3.0 mana average, and they got a nice curve here for the 1, 2, 3, and they didn't do that much for 4 drops, but then they get into 7 of the 5 drops. And it seems to work out pretty well. This is mostly based around evasion in the terms of flying. And if you're not prepared against flyers, it can get you pretty good. So you should have this in your deck list. So I'll go ahead and copy it over and make a deck list anyway. I'm not sure how much to go over each individual card, other than to say that it does have a nice synergy in the sense of they give you 3 of the Perish Blade trainees right up front, and they give you 1 Hopeful Initiate. So all 4 of these have training, and they can plus up whenever somebody attacks, another creature attacks with greater power. And then past that, you have the 3 drops for the 3 Overseers, the 3 Regulators, and then on the 4 drops you have the 5 drops, you have Metropolis Angel and the Angelic Quartermasters. So if you get these guys out sooner, and then these guys come out and you're ready to attack, you can have a small board of people that just plus up their counters, and you can get benefits from it that way. It's got a good amount of removal, I think. You've got 1 March of Otherworldly Light. You have 2 Valorous Stance, which you might use for a combat trick or for removal. And you've got 3 Borrowed Times. It's kind of light for me on removal, so that is one potential drawback. But it's a very flying-centric deck and a very counter-centric deck to add +1 counters to do things. So on occasion, I go ahead and pull out the premades. Sometimes I do them all in a row, and sometimes I do them in quick bites where we just do 1 match at a time. And I think what we're going to do here is I'll do more than 1 match with this thing. I won't necessarily do all the premades in a row, but I'll just make it a series, and I'll add it to the premade series that already exists, probably is what I'll do. We do want to make care to play our tap lands first, and there's going to be occasions where we want to play tap lands and where we definitely want to make our mana drops. And here we don't want to do the tap lands because we do have a play, and we don't want to lose too much ground to an aggressive deck. Now they could have removal, we can't do anything about that. For the opening creatures, we're just going to try and make our play when we can. So we've got a 3 drop, so I'm going to play the Deserted Beach and not Skybridge Towers because I want to make that drop. If Perish Blade Trainee survives for another couple of turns, then we could maybe plus it up. So that works because we get to tap the Chef. And that means we get just 1 point of damage in with the trainee. But that also means if they don't have removal, that we get the +1 next turn. And if the trainee ever dies, we can just put the +1 over on another creature. And you see we've got a nice little 4 or 5 turn curve here. And the cards, Wizards does this well with their premades, is they do pay attention to the mana curve. And that's why their decks are, generally speaking, fairly playable decks. So much for my idea to put on counters. Alright. Do we want to play a regular land and put the Angel down? Yes, we do. So most of my decks that I make, I take care to make sure I put all my tapped lands down first. With these particular decks, gross. Well, we don't want to have a lot of those, so we're just going to remove that little puppy now. Yeah, I think I will go ahead and just attack overhead. We'll try and save the trainee if we can. The good thing about using flying as an evasion tactic is sometimes your opponent is, for the most part, land-bound, and if they don't have enough removal, this one does have removal, but sometimes if they don't have enough, then getting the early lead on damage can help take you over the top. I'm going to actually take that. They'll probably feel good about that. And then we're just going to try and see if we can get rid of that. And we still have enough for a second spell, which gives us a draw card. And we see if they have any surprises. I don't like to hold back when it's obvious that all things being equal, you can get a point of damage in. For something like a little 1-drop, it's very, very nice. Gross. To test the waters and see if they've got some combat tactic that they're willing to spend to save things. And that is not what I needed right then. I can't really put Elspeth down into that kind of a crossfire. Can I? You know what, let's plus up the trainee. They know we're tapped, so they know that it's going to die. They let it through. I wanted the counter up onto the Overseer where they couldn't reach it. They've got another removal. Ah, not good for us. They do not attack with the Dreadhound. And we are flooding out.
New Capenna is starting to show him what you got.
And let's do first strike. The problem is they can plus that up, and now they'll probably run everybody up against Elspeth. But I kind of didn't have any other play just because I was flooding out. He got all of these spells and only 6 lands, and I'm at 8 lands. He should not attack with the 3 because I've got first strike. But maybe he thought just me losing the life would be enough. Okay, we do have a chance to find something, maybe. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. And what does that let us do? That gives us 4. I feel like I should use this stuff while I've got it. Just to maybe block against the Deathbonnet Hulk. We're not going to attack because we can't get past the Dreadhound. But if I don't get a removal spell, I need one of the other borrowed times or something. And this is, remember, one of the drawbacks to this deck is that it is a little light on removal. And this is lasting into the mid-game where we really can't afford to just be doing nothing but drawing lands. They've caught up to us on land draw. we had the one extra from Skybridge Towers. They're still playing kind of conservative. And does this allow me to win now? Because they can't block me there. And unknown to them, I have a blocker. They definitely want to make that a 6/6, but even if they have removal, no, they got a land finally. So we ended up drawing about the same amount of land. Obviously, I'm going to block, but I'm not going to lose it, because if I lose the creature, I'm going to lose one life from the Dreadhound. So that's why we exile it, and we don't take damage, and we don't lose our creature. Comes back with the counter and flies, and the good game belongs to me. They thought that they won. And that's why you don't say good game prematurely. Although I have been guilty of doing that on occasion myself, I must admit. Every now and then in this game you start to eat a little crow. That's one of the frustrating things about any game is you see the board, you think the win is yours next turn, and then somebody pulls out a trick and you're like, what just happened? And this time it was actually our turn to do that. What is this? Piano Tune Runyon. Is that supposed to be reunion and they ran out of letters? I don't know. Or is that Piano Tuner Union? That may be it. Okay, no one drop. This is kind of a little bit abnormal because they didn't give us a 2-drop creature or a 1-drop creature. And we don't have enough lands to put out the 4 drops just yet either. The other big thing that is a weakness, besides not having too much removal, is board wipes. This is, if you're going up against flyers and you know or suspect you're going up against flyers, pack some board wipes in. What they tend to do is, because they have flying and evasion, they tend to find ways where they don't have to give up their flyers, where they can save their flyers to the point where they have critical mass to fly over your head and hit you and knock you out. If you can time it correctly, you may lose some of your board on the field, like on the ground, but if it saves you from a lethal strike in the air, a well-timed board wipe will take out just about everything they have, and they could have their forces depleted. And this is a little difficult. What is this, wolves? I don't want to do... That's a 2-drop. Alright. I'm not sure if I should be using removal on a 2-drop. I don't have to worry about night and day yet from that particular wolf. But I feel a little nervous about what I've been given here. Okay, now the day and night stuff is going to come into play. And they would be able to do 2 mana of any color, which means they'd be able to put down a 5-drop next turn and leave me in the dust. So, again, these are small mana creatures. I hate using up all my removal up front on them. But I don't want it to flip to night, and I don't want to give them an advantage when I'm already starting without a whole lot of stuff here. They missed a land drop, right? This I don't mind using removal on because it can grow so big. I'm just going to kill it. Fine, be that way. Let's try again. They've got more of those, but they don't have all of them up front. It's a little bit unusual to only have 2 creatures this far into the match. That's kind of why I didn't want to use borrowed time on anything.
I can feel the yearning of the wild grow more intense.
Ah, good. He didn't create the wolves.
Wait for the perfect
Creating
moment
the
to
wolves
strike.
would have been a bigger problem for me. Instead, we can get rid of the Planeswalker.
The hunt is over.
Cast the Courage and take advantage of Metropolis's ability to draw a card when you have a creature with a counter on it. Make sure we don't miss our land drop, right? Good. Finally got another creature in. The wolf deck can be quick. By the time they get enough mana, if they get the right card, they can start running away with things. So I've gotten better at beating the wolf decks. Probably just experience it first with them beating me so many times. But the decks that I make are getting better and better about being able to handle a wolf deck. But yeah, I've got a healthy amount of respect for it just because they have some very good... Like, if they have the mana perfect opening for the first 4 turns, they can kill you in 4 turns. There's that kind of potential in the wolf deck. Okay, here's a mana sink. So if they don't have good spells, they can just sink 4 and create a wolf each time. And their wolf is now starting, their Paxton Pup is going to grow now. What do we do? I don't have enough mana. So let's draw and see if we can get land. Okay, we get the land. Then let's see what else we can get our hands on. Excellent. We'll go ahead and get rid of the basic land card, and that gives us some options, and then I can still attack from ahead and get another card draw. So we're ahead on card draw advantage and on life points, which is a great place to be at this stage in the game, because this stage is where we get our Planeswalker. And Elspeth is good enough that if they can't do anything about her the very next turn, a lot of people scoop. It's always more fun if you can do, get to the ultimate or, do something. Do something different. And now, see, just like that, the board status has changed, and can we really put Elspeth into the middle of all that? Let's see. We can put this down. We can put this down. And now we can tap a creature, right? Which one do we want to tap? I guess that one. And then what? Just attack? Just attack. A monoform Hellkite. I did not expect that. That does not belong in a wolf deck. What are you doing? This is weird. Tap one down, remove the other. E4, 5, 6, 7. Bam, 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 down to 1. Unless he's modified the deck further. I don't remember seeing a monoform Hellkite injected into the werewolf deck before. I don't think there's anything left they can do to us. That's 8. They could get us to maybe 12? Okay, there's 7, there's 11. But they're tapped out.
If a fight's coming,
That was close.
I'll be on the front lines.
But we got it. Okay, I think I got time for one more, so we're going to do one more. Ooh, Cinderclash Ravager. I got at least 2 of those now, possibly 3. So these type of videos are more for the newer players, to give you an idea of how to play with the pre-made decks that Wizards gives you, and also to point out where possibly that particular deck is weak. Just to know what to expect when you're going up against things, what to watch out for. In the meantime, I don't think I've mentioned yet to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to T-Bill's Corner. That's where you are. And I'm Travis. I usually say that at the very beginning. Defender only, right? So we need a little bit of life gain in here, really. So let's go ahead and bring down the Overseer now, so we actually cast a spell and do something. Again, that takes priority over putting down the tap land, which is what I usually do with my own pre-made decks. So this is looking, so far, they use Cabrietti for their own life gain, I guess? Do they have any other things besides mountains? Is it just still just mono red and they use that to thin their deck out for the land? Ooh, Curse of Faith. Shaken Faith. It's not a problem at the very beginning. They do have the damage. They do have the removal. That's the other weakness of this deck, is the flyers themselves. See, like the Metropolis Angel costs 4, but it's only 1. It's only 1 mana. And what do we do here? Do I do Rafine? Or I do Celestial? I feel like I should do Celestial. Tapping didn't matter there. We didn't have a counter to keep them tapped. They're just going to have a 3 damage. So they're steadily plucking away at us. Okay. We can put the tap down now because we're just going to play Rafine's Informant. And we will go ahead and get rid of that spell because it's only a 1-drop. And that's all we're going to do because we don't want to take more damage by casting additional spells. There's their life gain again. They're just going to get a mountain though. They are mono red. And most of their spells are cheap enough. It won't hurt them to get tap land all the time. So that's a good spin. I haven't seen this done yet with the mono red. They usually just stick the mountains in and they're done. He's got multiple different types of the New Capenna lands just to get him his life gain. Ooh, double Shaken Faith. Okay. So not your usual life gain deck. Red aggro deck. Okay, we got the 6. Let's do Sigarda's Summons. Makes it a 5/5 and hopefully tougher to beat. Can we hold them off now? Got me down to 8. Oh, gross. I think he's got me beat. I think he did it. Yep, attack with both. It was not enough what we did. That was good. I like the way he did the deck. Alright, so there's a way they can beat us too. We didn't have much in the way of things to stop them necessarily right away. They were too fast for us. So we'll go in and pull up the deck one more time. If the server will work. So it's the Premade. It's called Angelic Accountants. I'm not sure what we would do to bump this up. I'm not so sure that Light the Way is the best spell to put in here. Returning target permanent you control to its owner's hand. That's better, I think, with some vehicle-centric decks. You can use the +1 counter and untap it as a battle tactic, but I have not had a lot of experience with success using it in this particular deck, so I would probably get rid of that if I got rid of anything. And I would want to put in like my own board wipe, one copy, or just put in one more removal spell, just because we are light on removal, that kind of thing. If you do want to get a little tricky, you could try and put in one counter spell that they wouldn't expect. That can be fun to do on occasion as well. But overall, I'm not so sure also how good Sigarda's Summons works in... what else would you put it in, right? Because they've got ways with training to put the counters on. They got Homestead Courage to put the counters on. They got Angelic Quartermaster to put the counters on. So they have a lot of ways to put counters on things in the deck to then capitalize on Sigarda's Summons. But as you just saw in my experience, Sigarda's Summons is a very expensive spell. It's more like one of those that you play when you're already winning, and you don't necessarily need it anymore at that point, but it would just like help you win faster. So if I was going to do anything else, I mean, it seems like it's not bad, right? It's one expensive spell. Maybe you can play it later when you have fun. I tried to play it a little bit earlier just to give me a defending board, and that was the wrong answer. I should have actually, it turns out, at least to try and get myself one more turn, I should have put out the Inspiring Overseer and gained 1 life and drew a card and see what else I could have gotten out of things. I don't think we had Undercover Operative show up too much in this particular case, but that's a fun card too. It's tough sometimes when you have a card like this, but it's kind of like it's more like a fun-to-have card, whereas a card like Elspeth's Resplendent is so much more immediately useful, whereas this is kind of like a setup card. So if you wanted to upgrade this, I would say maybe make a removal card or a counterspell out of that, and maybe consider something else besides Sigarda's Summons, and consider making a different deck. If you're going to build a deck, build it around Sigarda's Summons and have that it be its own thing. And I don't think it quite works best here, unless you're already ahead. And if you're not already ahead, like against the mono red aggro, it's bad for you to draw that card too early, because it can be deceptive. You know, you think it's helpful, but it's not good enough. And that's my advice. That's my analysis of this particular deck. This has been Travis from T-Pill's Corner. Go ahead and leave comments if you want to talk about what you think about this particular Premade. And we'll see you another time with a new deck, or maybe playing another Premade. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.